Hello? Oh, yeah, hi. How's it going? Oh, pretty good, you know. I'm just playing guitar. Oh, you called just to let me know about how good your Tremonti amp sounds? Yeah, it must be really great. Oh, I should hear one, huh? Puts my amps to shame? Okay. Yeah. What's that? They're super expensive. I can never afford one. So I'll never have that Tremonti tone. Is that what you're telling me? Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it sounds great. Yeah. I mean, my amps, you know, they're kind of less expensive, so probably, yeah, don't probably sound as good, huh? Well, yeah, I wish I had a Tremonti, but you know, they're so expensive. Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know how great it sounds. All right. See you. Thanks. Man, that guy day after day keeps calling me, telling me how great his freaking Tremonti amp is and how crappy my amps are. Well, I finally got sick of it. You know, I mean, he calls me, telling me, oh man, you should hear this Tremonti. Too bad you'll never be able to afford one, and so on and so on. Well, guess what, mister? Just so happens I've got a secret weapon. It's right behind me. Oh, I'm sorry, what is that? Could that be a Tremonti MS-15 by Paul Reed Smith amplifiers? You know, two can play at that game. In fact, I can't wait to give him a call and let him know, hey, guess what I just got? That's right, a Tremonti. The boy's just gonna have to learn that I'm the boss around here, alright? That's right, I'm the top dog, the big cheese. Oh, what's that? Sounds like a Tremonti. Hi, this is guitarist Denis Taaffe, and I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Amps. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for. The PRS Tremonti MS-15 head. Okay, this is an all-tube head, 2-channel, 15-watt mini head, really, it's called. And it's quite something. Very expensive. You know, for 15 watts, this is one expensive head. And we're talking in the environment's about $720. Okay, and that's street price. So it's an expensive head, to say the least. It's in a metal chassis, which I found very nice. Got a metal handle, so it's real sturdy. Super cool. It lights up blue on the clean channel and red on the gain channel. And that's kind of cool, you know. Doesn't affect the sound at all. So, you know. And without question, you know, you're paying for the name. That's right, the Paul Reed Smith name, right? Which is spanked on the front of the amp here. And I'll move the camera here so you can see it. So there it is. You can see it's in blue there. Now I've got it quite a ways away. In fact, not really in the room. At the entrance of my studio room. Because my studio room is so small. Okay? And it's a... what's it called? It's plugged into a 2x12 cabinet. Okay? And now it's an 8-ohm cabinet. Okay, so actually the amp would be louder with a 16-ohm cabinet, you know. And so here I am, and I'll just play a little bit through the clean channel. So right away you can tell it's got that real tube-like sound, right? That kind of... So you can tell that it's got yeah, that tube-like sound that you'd find kind of like, you know, in a high-end tube amp, really. You know, like a deluxe reverb or a Supra or that kind of thing. Now, the EQ section is really good. It has a boost as well, which I don't really like on the clean channel at all. And the thing that really perplexes me about this amp is it's got no reverb, nothing. Right? And I'm sorry, on the clean channel, you know, and I mean, I understand that it's really good tube sound, but it'd be really nice to have at least a little bit of reverb. You know, that. Now, granted, you know, this isn't really the kind of amp that's for me, for my style of playing, you know, which is kind of more, for lack of a better word, kind of ambient, really, you know. And this is not that kind of amp at all, you know. But right, you would assume it'd be for the kind of metal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and hook up a pedal, because I just can't take it anymore. This no reverb on the clean channel. It makes it hard to review, right? Because I can't really tell, you know, compared to other amps. I mean, I can tell it's a really nice tube sound. So obviously the quality is there. So hold on one second. Okay, so I've taken care of that problem. I plugged it into a Line 6 M5. Let's hear how it sounds. Okay. What the? What? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, hold on. Let me get a reverb sound. Okay, so I've just got a generic Line 6 M5 pedal, and it's got just a little spring reverb on it. But man, what a difference it makes as far as the clean channel. The volume about halfway, but remember it's running through a 8-ohm cabinet, right? When ideally probably a 16 would be better. So it affects the volume greatly. Okay, and so definitely a nice clean channel. For me, the lack of reverb, you know, as far as an amp goes that I would purchase, this wouldn't be one of them, just for that reason alone. And the only reason I say that is because, you know, it kind of forces you, really, to use pedals, which is fine. You know, but sometimes I just want to plug into an amp. You know, it's kind of strange that way. There's something just very satisfying about plugging into a combo amp. You know, just a guitar and a cable. I remember there's some guy, and we laughed so hard for a long time, and he was, you know, he was the older, more experienced player, and so he was telling us, well, you know, I just use a patch cord, because we were asking about pedals, and he goes, well, you know, I just use a patch cord, and I wish I didn't have to use that. Sap ass. You know, I guess he should play acoustic then. Ha! Anyway, he was basically dogging that we were interested in effects. Yeah, it's just a really nice... Yeah, the more I play it, the more I like it. But for me, you know, for a clean sound, it just needs that little tad of reverb, you know. You know, maybe for some other players that's not the case. Or, you know, you're going to be using pedals. Alright, and, you know, I mean, I definitely see that they, you know, that they took time with the clean channel, you know, and just didn't gloss over and just say, well, here, we'll just, you know, throw on any old clean sound and that'll be the end of it. I mean, they did take their time, and you can hear it, hear the quality of it. Okay, so definitely a passing grade on the clean channel. I think they did a really nice job, and it really has a nice tube amp kind of sound, you know. Yeah, that kind of real, you know, big bottom end that you would find in a tube amp. Right? Okay, but you know, I would assume that people who buy this amp aren't buying it for the clean channel. I mean, of course they want a clean channel, but you know, not specifically for, you know, I don't care about the lead channel, I want the clean channel only. Obviously they're buying it for the lead channel, so let's check that out. I've got the lead channel on, and immediately you hear a lot of amp hiss, because it's tremendous amounts of gain. And here I've turned off the reverb, I don't think it helps at all. And you can hear it here. tremendous amount of gain there. Right, so it's got that real kind of beefy metal type. Yeah, so it's got that real metal. Yeah, it's like Okay, here are my thoughts on the Paul Reed Smith Tremonti. I guess it's the MS-15. Is that right? I'm sorry, the MT-15. Marc Tremonti, I get it. Okay. Sorry, the MT-15. Marc Tremonti. Here are my thoughts. Okay. One, for the price, you're definitely getting a high quality tube amp sound, and the amount of gain is ridiculous, you know, which is just what you want, of course, a real tube sound. And I'm sure it can get louder, you know, and it depends on what cabinet you have as well. You know, mine's an inexpensive cabinet, as I mentioned. And they didn't skimp on the clean channel, which usually, you know, a high gain amp, usually the clean channel is kind of an afterthought, you know, not really of good quality. But here it's different. Both channels are really, really good. Okay, really solid. And, you know, a high-quality tube amp of that kind of sound is an expensive endeavor, you know. I mean, we're talking, you know, deluxe reverb, you know, just like, you know, $700, $800, $900, even more than that, $1,000 or more. You know, and then add to that the high gain channel, and in a way I can understand the price. You know, at first I balked at the price. My God, you know, $720, and that's the street price. You know, so you could find them for more than that. And so I thought, oh well, you're probably just paying for the Paul Reed Smith name, you know, on the front of the amp, which I'm sure to a certain extent is true. You know, and the fact that it's the Marc Tremonti model. However, now that I've actually sat down and played it, I can see why the price would be justified, because to get those kind of quality amp sounds, you know, would be much more expensive of an endeavor, you know. You couldn't just take like a, you know, PV Bandit and say, here you go, here's the sound. You know, you're not going to get the same quality of sound. And it's quite heavy, you know, and I really like the metal casing, and I like the way it's you know, lined out, except for the volume controls are kind of confusing, because they have the lead volume first and the clean channel volume's kind of further down the line, you know. And that makes sense, because, you know, people who buy this amp aren't really buying it, you know, for the clean channel. They're not going, what should I get? A Hot Rod Deluxe, a Deluxe Reverb, or the Tremonti? It's just not the case. They're going for the high gain amp. Now, I have to admit, I assumed that they would have noise suppression pedals to run with the amp, or to run it at less gain than what I had it here, because it's tremendously noisy as far as hiss goes. Though, as I recall, back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking like late 80s, early 90s, I had a rack set up and would run these preamps, and I had a dedicated Hush 2C noise reduction unit. In fact, I just sold not long ago a Hush pedal, so it's not unusual to find, with that kind of gain, amp hiss is pretty normal, really, And I think in live use it'd be fine. I think in a recording environment, though, you definitely want some kind of noise suppression pedal to keep that hiss down, or use less gain, and it's a real shame, to me anyway, that they didn't include at least a little reverb circuit of some sort. Come on, you can buy a $25 reverb pedal on Amazon, which I guess they want you to do. Not that I recommend that for this amp, but at least something, would have made a real big difference, to me anyway. Even on the gain channel. But let's face it, if you can afford this amp, you can definitely afford some pedals, some high quality pedals, running through the effects loop or what have you. But without it, for me it's a deal breaker, really. I'm not sure that that's true, because when I was trying to get a high gain sound, I went through so much gear, so many different things, so many amps and pedals and things, to try to get the high gain sound I was after, especially soloing wise, and here, instantaneously you've got the kind of metalish tone. You can do pick squeals and so on and so on. I don't know. I'm a little old for that kind of stuff. But anyway, so I wish that they had done that with this amp. But I guess that's par for the course for many amps of that size. But it's definitely a high quality, well constructed amp. Is it worth the money? I would say so, because by the time you buy a nice, let's say a Fender amp for the clean sound, and a Marshall or something for the distortion, well, you're definitely right up there at the $720 mark, easily. So it's got its pros and cons. Of course, you've got to add a cabinet. Ideally, I would have had a 16 ohm cabinet to run through it, and it would probably sound better. I know it would definitely sound louder, And 15 watts is, tube watts is pretty loud. I think, it could benefit from a few more watts, I would say, but I'm kind of You know, I love high-powered amps. I mean, yeah. Like I use 120 watts of tube amps, you know. Just used to that kind of sound, you know. But, I mean, it can sound plenty loud. I mean, definitely, you know. And it's definitely lively and punchy and has that metal-ish type bite. Or for, you know, real shredders, it's the perfect amp for that. You know, and for metal kind of stuff. But I'm so glad that they didn't neglect the clean channel, you know, which is definitely decent as well, especially when you add a little reverb to it. It's just me, though, I guess. Okay, and, well, I don't own this amp, actually. It was loaned to me by my friend in Indianapolis, you know, that I always say it keeps calling me and telling me how great it is. This was back when I had, you know, playing through my little Fender X2s, and then he had just bought the Tremonti head, and it turns out it was 15 watts as well as, you know, the X2 that I had was 15 watts, you know, so I kind of joked with him that, you know, that we were competing between the two amps. Yeah, I guess it depends on your style too, you know, what you're going for, definitely. I wouldn't even say that it has a Marshall kind of sound to it, you know. I think much more powerful than that in the sense of more distortion, more gain, you know, but it's a real clean gain, you know. And I remember when I got a Pod XT Live pedal board, you know, and I played to it without any effects on it, you know, and just played some of the amp models, and I was astonished at how, well, quite frankly, how crappy it sounded without any effects, you know, even on the gain channel. And here I don't get that at all, you know. Definitely high quality sounds. I don't know if the noise is kind of an issue, but kind of par for the course for high gain amps, pretty much. You know, and of course, you know, you can dial back the amp hiss, you know. I mean, if I owned this amp, I'd have more time to, you know, play with the dials and find settings that I really liked here, you know. This was just kind of hit and miss here, you know, on there. Okay, so not a bad app at all, you know, quite impressed. Quite impressed, really. You know, and I guess depending on your style, if that's the kind of sound you're going for, you know. I think probably more, you know, high gain players, shredders and that kind of thing, would be much more into this amp than, you know, some jazz guy or something down the street. You know, well, probably wouldn't be their first choice. Okay, so, and you know, Paul Reed Smith makes good stuff, for sure. You know, so it's quality construction. And you can tell, I mean, just even just carrying it, you know, it's a sturdy little unit. Okay, and I don't know if it has a matching cab that goes with it, you know, Paul Reed Smith cabinet, probably. You know, but that's the nice thing about, you know, little mini heads is that you can use any cabinet you want. So pretty cool. Okay, and oh, and on the back it has for one cabinet 16 ohm, and then you got two plugs for one 8 ohm or two to make 16 ohms. Two 8 ohm to make 16 ohms. Okay, so I was just running it with one because it's an 8 ohm cabinet. Alright, there you go. And oh, and it's got quite a few tubes in it. You know, that's something to consider, I guess, because eventually you'll have to replace them. You know, that's more money, I guess. You know, I think it's 6 tubes, I think, something like that. Alright, in any case, there you go. There's a review of the PRS Tremonti. Alright, see you next time. Okay, bye.